Hi friends, so nice to see you again. Wanted to take you guys through my first week of virtual school with my elementary age children and tell you about my experience and maybe a few tips that I learned along the way and what might be helpful for you going forward. Before I go too far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'd love for you to share this video with anybody else you think would love it. So first of all, we survived. That's all I'll say. At the end of week 1, if you can get through it, pat yourself on the back because it's not an easy thing to do. Honestly, you guys, I feel like I'm in over my head. I'm like way too unorganized for this whole process. Like I'm just not a typically organized person. My house, I call it organized chaos, where I don't have the shoes perfectly organized, but if they're all in a bucket, then that's good enough. And if all the pants are in the pants drawer, that's great. And they don't have to be perfectly folded. Like I'm just not an A-type organized person. So online school, you have to be like very on top of it, very organized. And it's just been a little bit of a struggle for me. So that has been difficult. I had to print out schedules for myself, which I shared in one of my other videos of what to do and when for my children. So honestly, I would log them on to the correct class at the correct time because it's a lot of information to remember, and it's also a lot of passwords and login information. So I tried to have those all around the house. I recommend doing that. Print out their login password information for everything. Post it about, I think I have it posted 6 different places around the house, so no matter what room we're in, we can kind of know that info. Eventually, hopefully we'll memorize it, but right now we're still in the early stages of we don't know. So I would recommend doing that. Also, like my mother-in-law was here and she's a kindergarten teacher. She's awesome. So she gave me some amazing tips to work with my kids online, and I'll share those with you. But she was like, do you guys have a designated workspace? Like I feel like it would be good if they just had like one spot they went to and we were like, this is the school spot. And I kind of told her I'm more of a free floater. I do recognize that in kindergarten classrooms, from what I've seen in different classrooms, they have stations where the kids sit, different areas, different places. Sometimes they sit on the floor in circle time. Sometimes I had one teacher that did standing desk, a box crate for reading, bouncy balls for when she was like one-on-one testing them, they'd sit on the bouncy ball. And then they did carpet time, and then they could have like rocking chair time if they wanted, and like stools. So she did all kinds of different seating. So I don't know if I agree that they should have like one desk where they just sit there. Potentially I've heard some of these schools are a couple hours a day, several hours a day, like 6 hours even. So I don't know. I don't necessarily mind if they float around. I have different desks about, I have 3 different working areas in the kitchen. They each have their own desk in their bedroom. They can sit there. I also have a desk downstairs. So I have a bunch of different working areas where they can kind of pick and choose. And if they're just listening to a story, like my kindergartner just does story time, I'm fine if she just wants to like lay back in her bed and listen to her teacher read a story. And like she has to be sitting up and attentive, but she can lean back on her pillows, sitting up and like listen. I have no issue with that. So as long as they're like paying attention, that type of thing. I do understand that consistency is important with kids. So I would recommend just doing your own thing with that, honestly, like whatever works for you. You don't have to have a designated, like really super professional looking desk space. You do have to like organize their papers. So get like a little, I just got a little file folder, stick their papers in it. And that way for Monday or, Tuesday the next day, they have their homework that they did the night before. So, and really with elementary school age, it is so much work for the parents, like so much work. So I will say that I just found, probably 4th grade and up is living the dream right now with online because they're self-sufficient. They can kind of keep their stuff organized, but I'm like, my kindergartner is not going to keep track of their assignments, and neither is my 2nd grader. So it's heavy lifting for the parents right now. We have to be really organized and on top of what they're doing. So I just have a little folder, stick it in, and then their whiteboards kind of travel around wherever they are, as well as I always tell them to have a notebook, a pencil, and extra pieces of white paper in case like the whiteboard markers aren't enough room or they go out and they need a whiteboard eraser, so we always have a paper towel. So those are the things I would say always have ready for online for young kids is the whiteboard marker, a whiteboard wiper, like a paper towel, pencil, paper at the very minimum. That's awesome. And then obviously your laptop. And then so we have that set up. That went well. I think with my mother-in-law, she's been a kindergarten teacher for like 35 years. The tip she gave me was give your child like an activity to do while they're listening to engage their brain a little more, so they're not just like blankly staring or tuning out even. So for my son who's in 2nd grade, she assigned him like, okay, after your morning meeting with your class, I want you to tell me 2 things you learned about a friend, and what were those 2 facts. So now he's keyed in a little bit. He's listening to like, for those facts, because he thinks it's almost a little bit of a game. And then we're going to go over that after class, like what you learned about your friends and what characteristics. So he can kind of tune in and engage and notice. He's not really noticing that there's like even other kids there, because they're not talking to each other, right? The teacher's just talking at everybody pretty much. So that was one thing. And then she also kind of said that, have them make sure like whatever the teacher's doing on screen, that they just kind of like copy it on paper, and just as they go. If they like to doodle, that's fine. So it gives their brain something to just copy and like do like while the teacher's doing, to engage their brain a little bit. So I thought those were helpful, good tips. Give them an activity. It really is easy, especially for my 2nd grader, for them to just zone out. So the teachers are trying really hard to engage their brain and make them stand up and do the pledge, and it's just really easy for them to tune out, honestly. So we're struggling with that a little bit. So so those were kind of the light tips I learned. And then I do have a pretty strict schedule. I'm trying to make the weekends very different from school days. So it is like school days: get up, get dressed, get your teeth brushed, be ready by 8:30 to be engaged in learning in class. And for all the times we're not doing school, we're doing supplemental things. We're reading books. I got some extra workbooks. They can do Pages. They can do Zern on the computer, ABC Mouse. Like, they can do things. We're not just sitting around doing nothing. And of course, they have plenty of free time. That was one thing my mother-in-law did say. She was like, do you have recess? That's really important that they have breaks. They get up and run around, get their energy out. So I make sure they have lots of breaks in between of everything, because I need those breaks too. Like, it's a lot. And I need to just be like, whew. And I try and have a little bit of me time in between each one of our sessions, so I can have a life too. So, and you know what? I think a great thing about them being on a virtual line too is like, I make healthy food for them. Like, they're eating a healthy lunch, healthy breakfast. I can kind of see what they're snacking on all day. So, it's kind of good that way. So, and we're also incorporating biblical things into our days and chores into our school schedules. So all cool things. So those are the couple tips. I don't have many to give because I'm still learning a lot, you guys. Learning so much. And our school didn't provide workbooks or anything like that. So I think they are tomorrow, which will be great, because then I won't have to supplement as much with like worksheets and different things like that. So, and our school also hasn't done any kind of reading program with the kids yet. So I'm doing that on my own also. So do what you can. I've had so many people give so much outside help, like have a station for your kid. They need to be doing this. Give them a reward system, make a treasure box, give them questions to answer, make their writing. Like, it's just so overwhelming. Just try and do what the teacher says at the bare minimum. Try and keep on top of what the teacher's asking, and don't worry about anything else, like what your desk area looks like and like what supplies you have or what your house looks like. Just try and key in on what the teacher's saying and like let the outside noise just kind of wash away. So those are my tips for you guys. I hope you find them helpful. Let me know if you have your own tips, because I am learning here and I would love to learn from you and know what you guys are doing. So anyway, you guys, please subscribe. Like I said, if you want to learn more, give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.